We'll have a detailed training on this project where we'll have senior leaderships present. We will have our clients present, and they would want to witness the entire process of training in terms of the approach that they want us to take. Now, please understand that I will today try and brief you, and give you a basic understanding of market research and terminologies and primary research and things. Questionnaire, level discussions will move tomorrow. But today I am only sharing some technical terms which are very, very frequently used in research. However, since you guys are new to it, you may or may not be aware of it, and we'll use it regularly. So, just to make you familiar with the terminology, I will quickly take you guys through that. That's one agenda. Second is, please, as I told you, this is a very, very important session that we'll be doing tomorrow. We will brief you completely on the project. There are lots of questions in the questionnaire. So somebody when takes you through, it's going to make your life much easier. So be completely attentive. See, understand, we'll try share the documents related to the project today itself. So by documents, I mean the questionnaire. Now, questionnaire is again a terminology that we use most often in market research, and this is used for primary research. Questionnaire is basically a research instrument which is used about it. It's basically a list of questions. So more than one question, many questions actually in a questionnaire is, and these would be multiple choice. Most of the times the semi-structured questionnaires will have multiple choice answers along with the question. Each question will be followed with possible answers. So we read out the question and we read out the answers to the respondent and ask him to pick up the most appropriate one from his experience, right? So this is called a structured questionnaire. Structured means you have complete structure of the discussion. Questions are fixed, answers are fixed, the options are fixed. Only one of those can be picked up as a response, and therefore the entire conversation or entire interaction is fully structured. There is a structure, there is a defined flow, there is a order. This question has to be asked and then this question has to be asked, like that. However, unstructured questionnaires or semi-structured, so there's nothing called unstructured questionnaire, or if we talk about unstructured questionnaire, that becomes a discussion guide. So it will be more like a list of questions without answers to it. We simply ask questions and let the respondent talk, answer those questions in length and breadth, as much as he wants to talk about it without giving him fixed responses, right? So that is called unstructured, and these are unstructured. Why? Because the responses are not already classified, are not fixed already. It completely depends, and it's completely open to the respondent as to what he chooses the answer to be. It could be in one line, two line, multiple lines, and completely verbatim. And therefore there are different kind of requirements basis which one chooses whether this particular research should have a structured questionnaire or a unstructured questionnaire. Okay, when we are what percentage of people are saying this versus this versus this, exact numbers, statistical data, for validation, etc. Then we use structured questionnaires because we give them options and we ask them to restrict themselves in one of those so that that can be quantified and analyzed accordingly. So again, coming back to our research here, let me once again brief you guys about the project. The project is for a global food ingredient supplier company. So this company is a reputed name. For the sake of avoiding bias in our research discussion, the client doesn't want his name to be disclosed, we'll see how how this can be taken care of after tomorrow's session. Allow me a second, guys. Right. So yeah. So where was I? Can someone remind me? Hello. Hope you guys are listening.
About the client disclosure.
Oh yes.
Disclosure.
Right. So yeah, so the client doesn't want his name to be revealed, because most of the times, if you're approaching somebody for responses and you tell them that this particular research is being conducted by so and so company, then certain biases in the responses that they choose. So suppose you tell them that this is being done for so and so company. Next questions where you ask that which company do you consider a market leader, and one of the names is there of that of a client. It is seen that in some cases it brings in certain biases in your answers and opinions in choosing or not choosing the brand which has been exposed to you. Thus, many a times clients prefer to not share their brands upfront before the survey. However, later, to give some comfort to the respondent, it can be disclosed once the entire survey is over, once the entire questionnaire has been administered and responses have been captured, right? However, that will check what is the possibility of doing that in after tomorrow's session, right? So that's one thing. The other thing is, yeah, so as I was telling, that it's a leading company providing food ingredients across different countries to different categories of food manufacturing companies. So this company now wants to, enter India. They have already set up multiple manufacturing units already here in India at different locations. Now they want to, I think, expand their market. They want to reach out to more and more bigger companies where they can supply end to end whatever are their requirements in terms of these ingredients. So thus the idea for them is to understand the requirement of these companies. What volumes are they currently requiring? So which are the manufacturers from where they are buying it currently? And in what volumes are they buying? Are they buying these ingredients as a commodity ingredient or specialty ingredient? The details of what is a commodity, what is a specialty, I have covered to some extent in my earlier sessions and will again detail it out tomorrow. But yeah, so that kind of information we are trying to gather from 250 companies spread pan India. So we already have made a database also of some of these key companies, close to 300, 400, 500 companies we have already, identified. We will allocate these depending upon your geographies and geographies of these companies where they are located. Suppose some of you are from North. So some of the companies which are there in North will assign you those companies. Some companies are in Central India. So people who are from Central India will try and assign them those companies and like that. So we'll do all of that also tomorrow. So that you guys can start understanding, gathering information about those companies where you have to reach out to people, and you start working on your approach of how to reach out to them and how to convince them to participate, etc. All of that, can be discussed at length and breadth tomorrow in our tomorrow's session, right? So that will be one of the agenda, to explain to you which are the key companies which we are going after and how we'll start it, how we'll start the entire process. So that is the key thing. So basically, the end objective hopefully is clear to you guys, that we are reaching out to these 250 companies across the food manufacturing verticals, and a few, say 15, 20 out of these 250 companies would be from textile and paper, where we have utilization of native starch, which is one of the offerings of the client company, for which we are also trying to understand the volume consumption, etc., across the paper and textile industry in India. So we'll touch about 10, 15 or 20 maximum such companies which are using native starch for their, textiles or for their paper, production and manufacturing. Right? Rest 230 companies would be all from food category. Companies which are into cereals, companies which are into soups, companies which are into snacks and ready-made food, like pasta, noodles, and ready-to-eat things, and processed, vegetables and processed jams, etc. Processed meat, and like that. So we have a whole list of such ingredients. All of that also will be in detail shared tomorrow. The idea is that you have to develop a good understanding of the category where we are going. So when I say category, I mean these names. So when I say category, I am talking about the companies we are going to. So all of these 230 companies in the food ingredient segment, which we'll be covering, they will be from one of these categories. So it could be either big bakeries, right, which are into cakes, breads, cookies, or it would be, I'm just telling you the names of all of these categories, or it would be chocolate and sugar confectionery companies, or it would be snack and cereal company, which are into salty snacks, savory, namkeens, etc., or sweet spread companies, companies which are into making honey, chocolate, nut and seed spread, jam, preservatives, like that, or into sauce, dressing and condiments like mayonnaise, tomato paste, puree, tomato sauce. Cooking ingredients and meal is another category where you have pasta, noodle, ready meals, soups, etc. Then you have dairy, another category again, not for companies which are only into providing milk, but basically the other products from milk. So condensed milk, cream, processed cheese, milk alternators. Companies which are producing these are the ones we are going to. Then ice cream and frozen dessert companies, nutrition and health companies, which are into producing baby food. So nutrition and health, again, we have to be very careful. They have to have certain products which are used as baby food or infant food or elderly and medical nutrition products. So there will be, because you have to understand that the client ingredients are what? These are sweeteners. These are cocoa powders. These are oil and fats like palm oil, cottonseed oil, and, things which are used as fat substitutes, or, some texturizers, which are used to add texture to the nutrient, to the base, say if you're making cake, etc., to give better texture to your cake or to breads, etc. These texturizers are used. So these are the 4 different categories of ingredients that the client wants to supply across these 250 companies. So therefore, we have to develop a good understanding of these 4 categories of client products and the category of user companies where we are going. Unless you have these clarity, it will be difficult to reach out. It will be difficult to identify right set of companies and reach out the right respondent. Right? The most tricky part is to identify which are the right set of companies, which are the right set of respondents who will provide us the required information. So one criteria definitely is that the company that we are going to should be in one of these. So of the 15 14 or 14 names I think I have taken right now, the company should be one of these, should be making products in one of these categories. If it's not from one of these categories, then we do not go ahead and do interviews with them. Then the other criteria is that they should have a minimum turnover of 20 crores per annum. If they do not have that kind of turnover, then the company gets terminated. We don't go ahead and do the interviews there. So again, we have ranges. So 20 to 50 crore of turnover, we do certain numbers, say 50 interviews, 50 to 150 turnover. Sorry, 50 to 150, we do say 50 interviews again. And 150 and above, we do 50 interviews again. Rest of the 100, so we have already done 150 across these three. Rest of the 100 can again be done in that we have to do, say, 50 interviews between the range of 20 to 50 CR turnover company, and another 50 between 50 to 150. So these are soft quotas which are, given. Minimum you have to do 50, and then over 50 you can still do to complete your sample size of 250. Then the third is the region, that these companies should be either in north. When we say north, we'll talk about Delhi, Haryana, Punjab, Chandigarh, Uttar Pradesh, Uttarakhand, Rajasthan, Rajasthan, sorry, the JNK and Ladakh. Then if I talk about east, then it will be Bihar, Jharkhand, Odisha, West Bengal. Northeast would be Arunachal Pradesh, Assam, Manipur, Meghalaya, Mizoram, Nagaland, Sikkim, Tripura. West में we will cover Maharashtra, Gujarat, Goa, Dadar, Nagar, Daman, Diu. Central में Madhya Pradesh, Chhattisgarh. South we will cover Karnataka, Tamil Nadu, Andhra, Telangana, Kerala, Puducherry, Andaman Nicobar, and Lakshadweep. These are the physical locations where the headquarters of these companies would be located. One of their manufacturing units could be located, and we have to reach out to the right people, preferably people from the purchase department, not somebody very senior, but somebody with 1 year experience, 2 years experience, 3 years experience, who could provide us these basic info in terms of what ingredients are they using, where are they buying from, what volumes are they using, etc. So that should be good enough for us. So we will have certain quotas region wise also. So like for each of these regions, like we have 4 regions here. So we'll do 50 interviews across these 4 regions, and eastern part, east and northeast, we do not have too many companies. So whatever numbers we could do there in that region, that will still be okay, right? Then we have quota as per the department of respondent. So if we are speaking to people, and whether they are from operations or from R&D department, research and development, or from marketing, sales, we have certain quotas there also, where we have a minimum quota of 10%, which means at max 25 people we speak across 250 can only be from marketing department and not more. So if we speak to 250 people, only 25 could be from marketing. Rest has to be from other departments. The most important department from our perspective would be purchase department, because they are people who are buying, who are deciding what they are buying and what quantity and from whom, etc. And that is what is the objective for us to understand here, right? So purchase department is what we should try and go after. However, all of us should also try to have coverage of some bit of other categories also. So some interviews across, say, production, some interviews across R&D, some across marketing also would be required. But no interview should happen from admin and HR. If we do anything from admin and HR, then it gets terminated, right? Then we have to definitely make sure that the respondent we are speaking to, that person is at least 6 months old in the system. If the person is not 6 months old, meaning he's just joined about 4 months back or 1 month back or 3 months back or 5 months back, they do not qualify. They should have spent at least about 6 months in the organization for them to understand what is their consumption, what are they buying, how much are they buying, etc. Only then he will be able to answer us. Plus, he should have some role in decision making of the ingredients, which are involved in manufacturing. Whatever the company is manufacturing, they should have some role to play in the decision making of that ingredient, of decision of whether this ingredient should be bought and from whom it should be bought. So we have statements like this: evaluation and selection of an ingredient manufacturer, you should have some role to play. If you say that I don't have any role, there are options like I am the sole decision maker, matlab I am the only one who decides, then it is good, we can go ahead. I am the main decision maker, it's also good. I'm a part of a decision making group or a strong influencer in the decision making, that's also good. But if somebody says I have no influence on the decision, and that too for there are 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 statements like that, evaluation and selection of an ingredient, selection of specific type of ingredient, approval of a new ingredient, approval of new manufacturer, price negotiation, placement of an order with an ingredient, tracking and ensuring continuous quality of delivery from an ingredient manufacturer, all of these basically. So across this list, if he, for everything he says he doesn't have any role, he doesn't have any influence, then he is not the right person to speak to. We terminate the discussion. Then we come to a very important part again, which is on ingredients category. So now till now we were talking about product category, which is basically identification of the user companies where we are going to. Those 250 companies where we are going, which vertical will they belong to, was addressed by that category. Now, what product the client wants to pitch in, he has shared that list with us. I mean, what product he has as his catalog, which he can supply across different companies, that he has shared. Now we have to check which of these are being used across these 250 companies where we are visiting for our survey. So the ingredient list has to be very, very carefully understood by each of you. And you should also try and understand the application of each of these items as to where will these be used, you know, whether it will be used in snack or in cereal or in sweet spread or in, processing of vegetables and meats, or where will it be used. You should have that understanding. It will help you do this exercise better. So the ingredients that we have here is glucose syrup. These are sweeteners that we are talking about. Glucose syrup, dextrose, and liquid sorbitol. These are sweeteners that they offer. Then they have native starch. Native starch, again, as I said, will find application only for textile. I mean, not only they can be used even in the food company, but from textile and paper, this is the only product we will be checking. The rest of the products that the client has are of no use to textile and paper industry. Only native starch will be used there. Then vital wheat gluten is a texturizer, which is used to give better texture. Cocoa powder, cocoa butter, cocoa liquor. These cocoa powder are the other ingredients which are added to give added flavor, etc. Then cocoa butter, cocoa liquor, fat and oil, etc. These will be again in the category of oil and fat. Right. So these are basically the ingredients, and then there are some specialty ingredients. Those list I will detail out in tomorrow's call. Right. Now, another question is, how is the purchase team at the user end organized? So in the company where you are going for survey, you have to ask, how is your company's purchase team organized regarding food ingredient sourcing? When you buy food ingredient, then how, I mean, what kind of purchase team structure your company has? Is it a single buyer for food ingredient? Is it a specific buyers per food ingredient types? Is it specific buyer per end product category or others? You have to just ask them what is the relevant response, and whatever they say, we code that and we move ahead. So for every question, there is a response given and there is a number attached to that response. So whatever response and their corresponding number has to be encircled or ticked while doing the interview. So that is called coding. So that's like capturing the answer. So in MCQ, we basically circle, that response. So the same thing is here. We circle that response to ensure that we have captured what the client is, the respondent is saying. Then we ask the next question, which is, what is the total estimated value annual spent in INR lakhs of company purchase for highest volume of one commodity and one specialty indicated in the earlier question. Earlier question was where we had asked him the list of ingredients, and we have asked him that these are the product ingredients that are used across food industries. Please tell us which are the ones you buy for your company. Okay, and tell us what volumes you buy. So we have asked him in that list where, I was telling you liquid sorbitol, etc. So there we had captured that response as to how much you buy, in total. So we'll ask him ingredient 1 and ingredient 2 ka total volume, how much do you buy for the entire year. So, and then in the next question, we'll ask him how much of it is bought through from different manufacturers. What are the names of the manufacturers and what percentage you buy from them? So this basically completes our screener questions. Okay, so we ask these questions. Now see, when I'm explaining to you, it is taking a lot of time. The idea of this training session that I'm taking since last 3 days and will continue to take for a few more days is to reduce the time. You know, the better the understanding we have of the project, the lesser it will take time for us to identify which are the most important questions and bounce it off with the respondent and capture his response before the interview gets terminated in the middle. So the idea is, even if you get 10 minutes or 15 minutes from respondent, you should target finishing the most critical questions first, so that the rest less important questions can be attempted later. Then you can again connect with the person some other time and complete that. Or we can even use secondary information. We can visit their websites, speak to somebody else in that industry, someone in that company, and then complete the survey, right? But certain questions which has the volumes and the names of the manufacturers, etc., those are important, and that those needs to be captured for sure, very, very carefully, right? So this is what it is. And then we have another detailed questionnaire to be followed, that will, guys, if the meeting gets terminated, please once again join. Ishmanpreet, we can use the same link, right, to join again? Hello. I think we can use the same link and join again.
Okay,
right?
ma'am.
Yeah, so this is the whole idea. However, I'll just conclude. I'll try and conclude it in next 2 minutes so that we don't have to join again. But just in case you guys have any queries, then maybe we can have the next session also for 5-10 minutes if there are questions, right? But this is primarily going to be in tomorrow's session. Tomorrow's session is going to be again a detailed briefing of what are the questions and what will be the database, like how you will have to approach, what will you tell them, etc., etc. What should be your pitch. We'll try and discuss all of that, and then we'll do a follow-up question answer sessions, etc., in maybe the next day. Tomorrow is Friday. Saturday we'll do another session where by then you would have gone through the questionnaire, screener, etc. Whatever questions, queries you have, we can discuss that, and then we can you can start building your approach, write your pitch, do some mock amongst yourself. Someone becomes a interviewer, the other person becomes a respondent, and do a mock and see how confident you have become on the questionnaire. And from Monday onwards, full term, this thing can start, and you can start identifying people, reaching out to them, fixing appointments, and doing the discussions. That can start from Monday, right? Meanwhile,
Okay.
I think end of day, Ishmanpreet, or latest by tomorrow morning, Ishmanpreet will try and share your offer letters also. Andy, sign those and share with us by tomorrow. Paperwork, if any document is also pending, please provide that along with your acceptance of the offer letter. And that's about it. Tomorrow hopefully we'll have interesting session, and we'll just have to be very sure of because, as I said, there will be senior leadership present, client present. So let's be a little sure in terms of our conduct. For questions which are little risky, please save them